Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our monthly meeting of the Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals. And as is our custom at this time, I'd like to introduce everybody to Officer Ott. Officer Ott is a Cobb County police officer. He represents all our first responders here in the community, and he is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you all please rise, Officer Ott will lead us in the pledge.
Thanks, John.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Officer Ott. For those of you that are here for the first time, let me give you a little insight on how we're going to conduct the meeting. The first thing that we are going to concern ourselves is with the consent agenda. These are applications that not only this board has reviewed, but our professional and engineering staff and also our zoning staff. To our knowledge, there's no known opposition to any of these particular cases. So as we go forward, Mr. John Peterson, the head zoning administrator, will read these into the record, and as he does, the applicant, he or she, will identify themselves by raising their hand. Likewise, if there's anybody here in opposition, if they would identify themselves, and if we do have any opposition to any of these particular cases, we will pull that case and hear it in its regular numeric order. Next course of business is our continued cases. Again, we'll go into the same process with that when then we get into our regular cases. When we do that, again, Mr. Peterson will read these into the record. Again, everybody will identify themselves. Our officer of the day is Ms. Bates. Ms. Bates, you want to raise your hand? And those of you that are going to give testimony, Ms. Bates is going to call you forward. You will be sworn in. And once you're sworn in, the applicant at that time will have a 10-minute period to make their presentation known to this board. And likewise and collectively, the opposition will have a 10-minute period to make their opposition known to this board. All testimony will be given to the podium to my right. So with that said and done, John, do you have any special announcements you need to make?
Yes, sir. Thank you. The following announcement concerns variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or a reduction in public road frontage relating to the official code of Cobb County, Chapter 134, adopted by the Board of Commissioners on July 28, 2015. Applicants are advised that variance applications requesting a reduction in lot size or public road frontage, which are approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals, takes the form of a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners, who makes a final determination whether to grant the special exception for the requested variances. There are two applications on today's agenda, which this applies. First case is variance case V51, Christopher Campbell. Second case is variance case V54, Pradera Group. Applicants are instructed that if the Board of Zoning Appeals approves this application, that a representative would need to be present at the Board of Commissioners zoning hearing on June 20, 2017 at 9 a.m. for the final determination. Mr. Chairman of the Board, there are two cases on today's printed agenda which have been continued and will not be heard today. First case is variance case V38, George E. Elliott. That case was continued by the staff until the June 14, 2017 variance hearing. So V38 would not be heard today. Variance case V41, Robert Galitis. That case was continued by the staff until the June 14, 2017 variance hearing. So V41 will not be heard today. Additionally, there's one case on today's agenda which is asking to be continued, Mr. Chairman and Board. That's variance case V49, Scott Moore. And there's some more work that has to be done, so we would ask the variance board to continue this case.
V49. And I believe that's Skip Gunther's case. So Skip, would you lead us in the discussion on that?
There's not a lot to discuss. Excuse me. I'm familiar with the situation around this, and he wants to redesign where he plans to locate his garage, and so I think it's entirely appropriate that it be continued to allow him that time for the next month.
Make a motion.
So I make a motion that we continue that case until the next hearing, until the June hearing.
And Ms. Williams is going to second that. No other discussion. Call for the vote. Signify by voting. Okay, we're going to continue that case with a 5-0 vote, so V49 will not be heard today. Okay, John, what else we have?
With that, Mr. Chairman, we're ready to start the consent agenda.
John, before we do that, how about telling everybody about their cell phones?
Oh, yes. Please turn your cell phones off. The volume does interfere with broadcasting presentations. If you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off.
We all make mistakes, John. I do that all the time, so,
But it's funny because the person who was calling was Thea Powell. She was just here a few minutes ago.
okay, so all cell phones off, all minds focused on us, and we'll get this this show on the road right away. Mr. Peterson, go right ahead. Let's go to the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cobb County Board of Zoning Appeals, variance hearing consent agenda for May 10th, 2017. Variance case V40, Reginald J. Green, request a variance to waive the side and rear setbacks for an accessory structure for an approximately 712 square foot garage under construction, from required 100 feet to 16 feet adjacent to the north property line, 8 feet adjacent to the east property line, in land lot 126 of the 20th District. The property is located at the northeast corner of Old Highway 41 and Kimberly Road, and on the east side of Robin Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to the improvements as shown on the site plan dated January 30th, 2017, and not to be used for commercial or dwelling purposes. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V40? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V42, Eric Cavasuti requests a variance to allow an accessory structure. A proposed 600 square foot detached garage to be to the side of the principal structure, and to waive the side setback for an accessory structure from required 10 feet to 6 feet in land lot 215 of the 20th District. The property is located on the west side of Tayside Crossing, north of La Hinch Court. Staff recommends approval, subject to, as shown on the site plan dated September 22nd, 2016, not to be used for commercial or dwelling purposes, and stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V42? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V43, Linda Fonselis requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 26 feet in land lot 516 of the 16th District. The property is located at the southwestern terminus of Colleton Drive, north of Old Piedmont Drive. Staff recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V43? Let the record show there's no one opposed. If there is, okay. Mr. Chairman, there's 2 opposed, so we'll pull that off consent, and we'll hear that in its normal order.
2 in opposition? Okay. We will pull 43.
Yeah.
Okay?
So we'll pull that one off.
Take that, go to the next one.
43. Variance case V44, Effie Meany requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 20 feet in land lot 604, the 16th District. The property is located on the north side of Post Oak Trip Road, east of Twin Lakes Way. Staff recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments. Is the applicant present? The director show the applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V44? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V45, Mark Puckett requests a variance to waive the front setback from required 60 feet to 25 feet, and to waive the rear setback from required 50 feet to 25 feet in land lot 15 of the 19th District. The property is accessed from an easement on the west side of Mays Road, north of Morrison Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to site plan review comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V45? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V47, William J. Higgins and Paula N. Higgins request a variance to waive the rear setback to require 35 feet to 32 feet in land lot 391 of the 16th District. The property is located on the northwest corner of Chestnut Drive and Shallowford Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to the site plan received March 8th, 2017. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V47? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V50, Joseph Mitchell Request a variance to waive the side setback from required 10 feet to 9 feet adjacent to the west property line. Waive the setbacks for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 875 square foot proposed garage from required 100 feet to 10 feet adjacent to the east property line, to 20 feet adjacent to the south property line, and to 60 feet adjacent to the west property line, and to allow parking and/or access to parking areas in a residential district on a non-hardened surface. In land lot 240 of the 17th District, property is located on the south side of Angela Drive, west of Concord Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to stormwater management comments and traffic comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case of V50? Let the record show is not opposed. Variance case V51, Christopher Campbell requests a variance to allow an accessory structure, which is a relocated cabin, to be to the front of the principal structure. We have the setback for an accessory structure over 650 square feet for an approximately 960 square foot proposed pool house for required 100 feet to 80 feet adjacent to the west property line, and waive the minimum public road frontage from required 75 feet to 50 feet, which is on Gambrel Road, in land lots 187, 246, and 247 of the 17th District. The property is accessed by an easement off the south side of Nickajack Road, west of Gambrel Road. Staff recommends approval, subject to historic preservation comments and fire department comments. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V51? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Variance case V52, Carmen C. Abernathy requests a variance to waive the rear setback for an accessory structure under 650 square feet for approximately 341 square foot gazebo, required 35 feet to 6 feet in land lot 912 of the 16th District. The property is located on the north side of Adams Oaks Lane, west of Adams Oaks Landing. Staff recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V52? Let the record show there's no one opposed. And that completes the consent agenda, Mr. Chairman and Board.
Okay, it's back to this board for discussion with the exception of V43 that we will hear in its regular order. Do I have any comments from any of my fellow board members? Not hearing and seeing any comments, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Okay, got a motion, Mr. Second by Mr. Gunther and Mr. McDaniel. All those in favor signify by voting yes or no. All right, Madam Secretary, we are going to approve that with a 5-0 vote. For those of you that were on the consent agenda, your business is complete with us for today. You are welcome to stay, or if you leave, please leave quietly, and we'll continue on with our business. Thank you. We'll give you a couple of seconds to vacate the room. All right, we have a little confusion here. Ms. Bates, what's that case number that this gentleman is, pardon me, 51?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, I tell you what, if you have a question on that, you've been approved on V51. You have to be back here on June the 20th at 9 o'clock. If you have any questions for that, if you just have a seat when we finish our other business, then we'll come back and help you out. All right, John, let's go to, let's see, where am I? I guess 43 would be the first one I would hear. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go to 43. Okay. And let's see what we can do with that.
Yes, sir. Variance case V43, Linda Fancelis requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 30 feet to 26 feet in land lot 516 of the 16th District. The property is located at the southwestern terminus of Colleton Drive, north of Old Piedmont Drive. There are 2 people in opposition, and the applicant is present. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, anybody that wants to give statements, the applicant come forward. Those folks in opposition that want to give statements come forward. We'll get you all sworn in. All right, ladies. All right, the applicant come on up to the podium, and ladies, just have a seat right there in the front row. We'll take the applicant first. Lady, that's it, just sit right there. All right, sir, if you would, for the purpose of the record, if you would, please give us your name first, please. Okay, tell us what you want, sir.
10 by 19 sunroom and a rear slab.
You're building a sunroom in the back of the house.
And it's already a slab in there.
There's a slab, so you're
Yeah.
building on top of slab. Okay.
Yep.
Tell us about, give us some more information. How big is it going to be? What's it going to be used for? What's the material? Give us some information. You got a 10-minute period to tell us whatever you like. If you have pictures, we'll be happy to look at pictures, whatever you want to
Yeah,
show
we
us.
got. I have pictures and everything. I mean, the drawing.
If you just give those to that gentleman right there, he'll put them up on the board.
It's gonna be the main paperwork. Here.
All right, sir, tell us what we're looking at.
This is gonna be the size of the room.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the dimensions of it?
Dimension is gonna be hold on. It's gonna be 10 by 19.
10 foot by 19.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us.
It's my first time, so I'm learning to do everything.
It's all right, take your time.
Trying to find something different. We have everything in paper up here.
While you're looking that up, can you tell us what the room's going to be used for?
Well, usually it's for being outside, you know, like it's gonna be like a sunroom.
Okay. Are you going to have a roof? I'm trying to get you to give us a little bit. Is it going to have a roof over it? Is it going
Yeah.
to be screened in? Is it going to be walls?
It's gonna have walls with windows and doors
Okay, and a roof?
and a roof.
Okay.
Okay. So it's made of vinyl with metal. It's
Okay.
aluminum covered with vinyl. Snap.
All right. And you need a 4-foot variance. Is that what you need?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell us about this?
Well, I'm not too familiar with this.
I talked to Andy.
This is Miss Williams. Miss Williams represents that district, so it's a little unusual, but she's going to help you
I'm
out
gonna help
at
you
this
just a
point.
little bit here. I had talked to Andy, I think he was
Yeah, yeah.
from Doors and Windows, and he's the one that
He's the one.
I had the conversation with. But you're wanting to take the existing patio, the concrete, and build over that and make a sunroom, is that not
Right.
correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you had the signatures of your adjacent property owners, that they didn't have a problem with it.
First, no.
I think, John, didn't you have the signatures? 9, you had signatures of 9 people in the neighborhood that did not have a problem with you making a sunroom off of your deck, is that correct? And it's gonna match the rest of your house?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
anything else you want to tell us? Anything else you want to tell us now? No?
Oh,
All right, have a seat, and then we'll hear from the ladies.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, ma'am, let's start off. Give me your name, please.
It's
first.
Karen Robertson.
Karen Robertson?
Robertson.
Okay, and ma'am, you want to give us your name?
I'm Gloria Newitt.
Gloria knew it. Okay, ladies, go ahead.
We are here on behalf of the Colleton Plantation Homeowners Association. I am the secretary and Gloria is the vice president. And mainly, I won't really say that we have an opposition to this particular case. However, we just don't have enough information. The board just found out and received the plans on Saturday. And there's a process that we have in the community because we are a covenant-controlled community that you have to fill out some architectural control paperwork in advance of doing any adjustments to your property. And that paperwork has not been filed. So that is really why we're here, is because we don't know really what's going on and not really knowledgeable enough to make a decision.
Gloria?
We are not actually objecting to it. We are merely asking that, that you all postpone your decision until Linda completes the paperwork and follows the procedure of the HOA. And she has not done any of that.
All right. Anything else either one of you would like to add, say?
That's
That's it.
pretty much it.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Williams. Before I do, let me just clarify something.
Sure.
This board has no control over homeowner associations or any other typical associations like that. We don't get involved in covenants or anything like that. So that's an issue, that's a separate issue than what this board can deal with. With that said, Ms. Williams again represents the district. So Judy, you could take it from there.
Hey, it's nice to meet y'all. I went out and looked at the neighborhood. May I say that this neighborhood is an RA4 development, and it's older development, but it's so well maintained. It's a nice little subdivision tucked in there behind that shopping center. So I would say that the chairman's right. We don't get involved in covenants, but your only opposition is that, and I think that it would be. I'll ask John if we could hold that while they get together with the applicant for 30 days. Is that reasonable without bringing up the?
Sure.
Okay. Then I would propose, because you obviously need to talk and make sure that everything's okay. I don't really see anything wrong with enclosing, just like y'all enclosing the patio to make a little sunroom. But I think you should follow all procedures to do it. So with that said, I would make a motion that we hold this for 30 days.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion, any comments, questions, discussion? Not hearing? Okay, not hearing anything, I'll call for the vote. All signify by voting. Ms. Williams, we're gonna go with Ms. Williams' recommendation. We're gonna hold this case for 30 days to
Y'all
give
get
the
together.
applicant, sir, give you an opportunity to fill out the paperwork with your homeowners association. Let me just remind the two ladies that are here, he had 9 signatures from all his neighbors. So obviously his immediate neighbors really don't have any problem with that. Again, we're going out a little bit out on a limb because we don't deal in homeowner associations or covenants at all. But we're going to try to, for good neighbor's sake, because y'all have to live together, we're going to hold this for 30 days, okay?
May I just ask for the record, who is the gentleman that's here? Because I don't know him as being a homeowner. I know Linda Francelis as being the homeowner. So he's a contractor, okay. So he's with the
Yeah.
contractor.
Yeah, I dealt with
Okay.
Andy,
Okay.
who works for Doors and Windows, who's going to do the construction. But I haven't met that gentleman either, but I think this would be a good opportunity for you, the homeowner, and you to all
Okay.
talk.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, have a nice day.
See you in June.
John, let's go, where am I? 46, John.
And, pardon me, Mr. Chairman, but there was a motion on that to hold it, right?
Yes,
Okay, I missed that.
and it was a 5-0 vote. Yeah.
Okay, variance case V46, James P. Hudson, request a variance to allow an accessory structure for an existing garage and a proposed approximately 1,800 square foot garage and shop to be to the front of the principal building. Waive the setbacks for an accessory structure for the proposed approximately 1,800 square foot garage and shop from required 100 feet to 40 feet adjacent to the west property line and 56 feet adjacent to the south property line. And 3, allow a second electrical meter in land lot 279 of the First District. The property is located at the northern terminus of Conway Drive, east of Surrey Trail. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V46? Let the record show there's one person opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in.
All right, sir, if you would, for the purpose of the record, give us your name, please, first.
I'm James P. Hudson.
All right, Mr. Hudson, I noticed you have some pictures there. If you want to put them up
Yes,
on the board,
I do.
and then we can go ahead and get started.
Okay,
If you just give it to that young man right there, he'll help you.
all right. Show that one first, and this one second, this one third. And then I have an aerial photograph.
Put,
Want to do that? I can show it to the board if not. Okay.
all right. Now you can see that up there. Cornelius, if he has that other big picture, put that up on the other board for us too. Will. All right, Mr. Hudson, now you can go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us.
Okay. I've lived on this property since 1977. I have approximately 7 acres of land. It's densely wooded, and I'm here because the county has declared most of my property my front yard. Considering the way it's configured, it's most unconventional. So in order to build any structures at all on the property, I need a variance because of the front yard situation, even though I face the rear yards of 6 other residences. My son is moving in with his family with me next year. My wife passed away a few years ago, and it will be good to have a family in the house again. And we would like to build a garage with a hobby workshop at one end. It will be primarily a garage. I have antique cars, and he has a boat and truck, and he likes to collect mopeds, and he likes to build custom furniture. We would use the shop during reasonable hours. We would have insulation in the building, and the color of the building would be dark grayish brown to blend in with the trees. It's densely wooded, and the vegetation is such that we feel that there's adequate screening from existing neighbors. It's 250 feet to one of the St. Leon neighbors, 300 and something to another one, and over 320 to another one. I have photographs showing the vegetation screening between. This is a winter view showing from the location of the structure and the house numbers, as you can see in the distance. 250 to the one on the left, 300 to the one in the middle, and over 320 to the one on the right. And in the summertime, if you'll put in the next picture, it's pretty densely screened. The location of this structure is such because I'm in the river corridor. And the river corridor restricts where you can build and how much you can build. And so the area where it is located is category D, which allows me the room to build, and I'm not using all of the allowance, but on the aerial photograph, you can see the black outline of the property. And the little red dot is the structure that we're proposing.
I
And
tell you,
the-
let me stop you there.
the-
Sir, let me stop. Let me give you a microphone and a pointer, and then you can point out those things on
Okay.
that. It'll make it a little bit clearer for us.
Okay.
Oh, no, sir, here. No, just go right behind you back there. Cornelius will show you how to do it.
All right. Let's see. This is my house right here.
Yes, sir. Hold that mic up a little bit.
This is my house right here.
Yes, sir.
So all this is considered my front yard.
Okay.
I don't have frontage on a public road. It's accessible to Conway Drive by easement.
Okay.
These are rear yards of St. Leon residences and 2 residences on Conway Drive.
Okay.
And this red dot is the structure itself, and that is the category that's available to me from the river corridor point of view.
Mr. Hudson, show me how you get to your property. Where's your access to the public road?
All right. This is Conway Drive coming right down through here.
There you go.
And it ends in a cul-de-sac, and we have a private road that comes down and accesses this house and through here
Okay.
to my house.
All right, sir, thank you. Go right ahead now.
I think that pretty well covers everything at this particular point. The building will be a utilities type of building. We want it to be fire resistant. We want it to be termite proof. And we feel like a metal building would probably serve the purpose best. And considering the fact that we're putting in the color that will blend in with the trees and the existing vegetation screening, that would be appropriate. Thank you.
All right, sir, thank you very much. If you just have a seat, and we'll hear from the opposition. All right, sir, come right up. Give us your name, please, first.
My name is Miguel Moreno Toscano.
Say that, I'm sorry.
Miguel Moreno
Miguel.
Toscano.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
I'm the homeowner of the property in 944 St. Leon Courts, and we have part of the section that you can see over there.
Did you see
neighboring-
that little arrow? Is that your
Yes,
house
that
right
is the
there?
one, exactly.
That's your house. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Exactly. So our position is not an opposition to the variance of the construction of the garage. It's more a concern that we would like to be reflected based on the description of the activity that Mr. Hudson provided us that he wants to carry out on this structure. I work from home a lot, and the neighborhood is quiet, it's a nice place. And based on the description of metal work to be carried out on this workshop, we are concerned that the noise generated during normal working hours during the day would be of a problem for us. So basically, we are not opposed of having a garage for hobby usage like everybody does. But the idea that the commercial activity of his son being a metal worker operating out of that garage will generate noise problems for the community.
All right, anything else you'd like to tell us?
That would be it to be reflected.
So so essentially your opposition is you're concerned about the noise factor, is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else?
No, basically that's the point. We're very happy of Mr. Hudson building such a structure for personal and hobby use and store his vintage cars and tools.
Right.
But if that turns out to be a point of operation for metal work for commercial uses, that would be an issue.
Okay. All right, for the purpose of the record, is there anybody else here in opposition to case V46? Hearing and not seeing anybody, I declare the public session over. So Miguel, if you just want to have a seat close by, we may call you up. Before I turn it over to Mr. McDaniel, Let me just point out a couple of things. This property is really controlled by the ARC, Atlanta Regional Commission. If this gentleman has lived on that property since the middle 70s, there was no regional commission at that time. He could do certainly what he wanted with the property. But because the ARC has the river, the authority over the river, so that's why we see variances come in occasionally for these type of situations, but it's really controlled by the Atlanta Regional Commission. So I wanted to set that up for anybody that didn't understand what the ARC meant. With that said, Mr. Bryant McDaniel represents the district, and I'm going to turn it over for discussion with Mr. McDaniel. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hudson, could I ask a couple of questions of you, if you wouldn't mind coming back up to the podium for a second? I really just wanted to give you a chance to address the concerns about the noise. I know that you had mentioned something about it being well insulated, so can you maybe help try to address that question, that concern?
The only occasions when there might be any noise would be if we're working on the car. There may be wrench noise, there may be drilling. He does do metal work for a living, but that business will be elsewhere, not on the property.
Okay.
He does like to build custom furniture, and occasionally he might want to do some cutting of metal to build that furniture. And other than that, the running of a moped, engines from the car, and that sort of thing. But it would not be on a daily basis by any means.
All right, thank you very much.
Wait a minute, before he goes, is there anybody else have a question for Mr. Hudson before he leaves there? Let me ask this question, Mr. Hudson. Would you be agreeable to limiting the hours of activity as far as metal cutting and noise generating business, like from 9 to 5? Would you be willing to stipulate to something like that? I'm just throwing ideas out.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for this gentleman while he's up there? Okay. Brian's back.
Well, are you suggesting then that we do
No, I'm
stipulate that or not?
I just wanted to ask that question just
Okay.
to get a feel for everybody.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, with all that being said, and I do appreciate the opposition's comments, due to the location of the existing home, the unusual lot shape and size, and the building limitations due to the ARC restrictions, I think Mr. Hudson's making the most of the limited options that he has in terms of the space on his acreage. So, Mr. Chairman, I therefore move to approve case V46, subject to staff comments, and that the garage will not be used for habitation or commercial purposes.
Okay, I've got a motion, I've got a second. Ms. Williams, discussion from anybody? Not hearing any, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify, or those opposed signify. Madam Secretary, we are going to approve that with a 5-0 vote. Mr. Hudson and Miguel, your neighbors, I want you to both be friends. It seems to me he is willing to work with you. So when we leave here, you're still going to be neighbors, so let's be friends too. And Mr. Hudson, you work with that gentleman and vice versa, okay? Thank you very much for both of you. Oh, well, there you go.
There we
Hell,
go.
there we go. We made the day. Where am I, John?
Yes, sir. Variance case V48, A. Yang Wang requests a variance to waive the rear setback from required 40 feet to 25 feet in land lot 314 of the 16th district. The property is located on the north side of Upland Drive, west of Upland Court. Is the applicant present? The director show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V48? That director shows no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Order. All right, sir, if you would, give us your name, please.
Tom Ingram.
Tom Ingram, all right?
I work
Tom.
for the construction company that's going to do the room for the homeowner.
All right, sir, go ahead, Tom, tell us what you want.
We want to build a 10 by 13 sunroom off the back of their dining room that they have in the house now.
Right.
And the rear setback goes right up to the house. So for us to build the sunroom, we have to go into this rear setback. So we're asking for the variance so that we can build the sunroom in there.
But give us a little more information. How big is it?
It's a 10 by 13. It's only going to be like 11 foot tall. It's a gable roof, all glass around it. There's no doors. The access to it is going to be from in and out of the house through the dining room. It'll be built up off of the ground on a deck and all that for the flooring.
Okay. Anything else? Are you aware of stormwater comments on this particular
I
case?
haven't seen anything. I got a phone
Okay.
call about it, and they were going to go out and look at it, so.
Okay.
And I know that there is an easement back there. There's like a creek. But it shows that that's like 20 foot, and they have a rear setback of 40. So it's going to put us right up, almost close to that,
Okay.
to the stormwater.
All right, anything else you want to tell us?
No?
And again, for the record, is anybody here in opposition to case V48? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board. Ms. Williams represents that district, so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Williams. Judy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. You can have a seat for right now. I'm gonna because there's nothing wrong with having the sunroom, but there are some problems with the backyard. You've got a stream back there and you've got a drainage easement. So I'm gonna get Dave Braden to come up here, explain to us.
Just 1 second.
Uh-huh, sure.
Again, Dave Braden with the Stormwater Management Division. And the location that's shown on the plan in the book is correct. So it is not going over, as I think you thought it was going over the existing
Okay.
elevated deck. It's a
Okay.
new structure that's bumping out from the farthest portion of the house. The addition would be outside the drainage easement. There's a drainage easement shown on the plan, but the creek there is a flowing stream, and it has it's on a 50-foot buffer because this is an existing subdivision, been there for a while. I'm thinking that we might only apply the 25-foot state buffer in this case, but even with the 25-foot buffer, the addition is going to be extending in the 25-foot undisturbed buffer. And there also is a 25-foot impervious setback on the other side of that, but the entire house is sitting in that. So my comments are that would need to get a buffer variance through community development through Frank Gibson if they're going to be able to do
What they
this
wanna do.
addition. Right.
Then it would be, I guess, your recommendation, because of the problems we have with the stream buffer and the other problems, that maybe we hold it for 30 days and they get with about obtaining a variance, if
That
that's
would be my
possible.
recommendation, because hopefully they find out that they could do buffer averaging or something to be able to do that, but if not, then we'd be
Yeah.
doing it for nothing.
Yeah, because if they can't get the variance, then there's no purpose
That's
to
correct.
approve the variance, so, all right, thank you.
Wait, David, wait a minute, let me ask a dumb question. How did we do this to the original zoning? Why did we let a house get that close to the buffer?
This house was built before the buffer
Before.
variance was even in effect.
Oh, it was? Okay.
This is an older, Dunbar
So
Thompson.
it's outside
Oh.
the drainage easement, but
The Gordy
now that we have,
property.
Oh, Gordy problem. Well,
now
that's,
that we have stream buffers, it's an issue. So,
I'm not as old as Judy. She remembers that stuff. I don't
I do
remember
remember
those
that.
days.
Oh, the Gordy property, I do remember it.
All right, sounds like you got a problem, but it sounds like we might have a solution. So Ms. Williams, go ahead and let's
Yes,
get,
yes, sir. I think for the applicant, I really don't see anything wrong with the sunroom, but there is problems of trying to build the sunroom. So in order to work out the problems, I would suggest that we hold it for 30 days, let the applicant and the homeowner get with stormwater management to see if there could be a variance issued on the stream buffer setback. That's the problem we're having, is the stream buffer. And so that would be my motion, to hold it for 30 days. Applicant to get with stormwater management.
And I'll second that.
and in particular, Frank Gibson is who.
It's Frank Gibson, yeah, and I think Dave would recommend
Would.
and give him the number for him. So just get with Dave Braden, he'll give you the number of who you have to get in touch with.
All right, got a motion, got a second. Any no other comment? Call for the vote. All signify by voting one way or the other. It's a 5-0 vote to hold this for 30 days. Give these folks a little help and relief. Okay, John, where am I?
A variance case V53, Paradise Group LLC, requesting a variance to waive the minimum number of parking spaces from required 15 parking spaces to 10 parking spaces in land lot 789 of the 19th District. Property is located at the eastern intersection of East-West Connector and Powder Springs Road. Is the applicant present? Is the
there
applicant here for V53? Paradise Group? Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V53?
Dave Mattson, is that you?
He don't,
Okay.
We're not that boring, are we?
Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V53?
It's
The
like,
director says no opposed.
who? Me?
Come on up, Dave.
Hi, sorry about that.
Give us your name before you say anything.
Sure, my name is Dave Mattson. I'm here to represent the variance request for parking reduction for an oil change facility at 2651 Powder Springs Road. And the code calls for 15 spaces. The tenant we're working with here really only needs 6 or 7. I asked for a reduction to allow 10 spaces. The way it works, they have 4 bays and the customers stay in their car. It's an oil change concept. All they do is change oil, no mechanic works, no lifts, no tires off the car. Customers stay in the car, they change the oil. It's called Take 5, 5-minute oil changes. So they really only need to cut 2 or 3 spaces for employees. 10 is more than enough. And I would like to point out also that the site plan as shown, the property lines do meet minimum lot requirements and setback requirements for platting. 10 spaces is more than enough for this tenant. And that if this were to change to some sort of retail use, the size of the building is 1,990 square feet. So with 10 spaces, that would provide over 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet for your typical commercial retail, which is what Cobb County Code requires. And I could get 12 spaces in there on the site plan if that would help, but really we'd like to just have 10 spaces. And if we would be allowed to count the bays for oil changes as parking spaces, that would really give us another 4 spaces. So I think we're close to the 15, depending on how you look at it. But what we'd really like to do is just have 10 like was submitted with the plan.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, sir.
All right, for the purpose of the record, is there anybody here in opposition to case B53? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it's back to this board for discussion. Monique Sheffield is our representative for District 4. So Monique, if you would lead us in the discussion, please.
Yeah, thank you for coming down and joining us today. Excuse me, and also taking the time to speak with me on Friday. Now, your case has a bit of history. Apparently, there's been another lot that's been purchased that's been set aside for a grocery store. Is that correct?
It hasn't been purchased yet, yes, but that's the plan. It's part of a larger development.
Right, it's part of a larger development, but at the time of that rezoning, you were aware that that space was dedicated to be a quick oil change place, correct?
Yes.
And also at that time, you communicated that additional space or reduction of space would not be necessary. Is that correct?
Additional space for the land, or I'm not sure.
Well, your variance, in other words,
Well,
that you would not need the variance.
I wasn't aware we needed a variance, the way I read the code incorrectly.
Okay,
I
Did
just
you
wanna-
wanna add something,
Yeah, I
Mr.
just want to
Chairman?
add in, I think all this took place at the Planning Commission and also the Board of Commissioners. That discussion took place at the Planning Commission. And you
Okay.
clearly stated at that time you didn't need a variance on this.
And we didn't rezone the front piece, we rezoned the rear piece where the trees are. That was zoned,
And that's correct, but the question was asked of your representatives at that time.
there was a condition that stated a minimum amount of parking spaces for the grocery store at the back. We really didn't discuss the lot in the front.
Okay. All right, well, we'll just fast
Directly.
forward to the actual application. So I had an opportunity, obviously, to look at the application, and reading it and even hearing you today, I cannot find where there is a hardship for what you're looking to do. Now, while the current owner may not require the number of spaces, and thinking ahead in the event that business is sold or when the business grows, there may be a need for those spaces. Additionally, based on our conversation, I think it was on Friday, you communicated that you would remove those spaces to add landscaping. And while I think landscaping is a fantastic idea, it's beautiful to look at, I just didn't find that to be a hardship to remove those spaces. So with that, I will deny the application and also recommend that you follow the Cobb County ordinance as it relates to the number of spaces at that establishment, because 15 are required, but from what I'm looking at, there are just 12. So we're still 3 short here.
Well, and the hardship is that's requiring more spaces than what we need 2 or 3 parking spaces. Customers don't get out of their car, and we really only need 6 or 7.
Right,
So-
which I understand, but
and that's typically what we do in most,
Sure,
municipalities. It's plenty, it's never an issue. I read the code wrong, I saw 3 per bay, thought we needed 12, and then I missed the +1 per each employee, so.
right, it is
trying to get a
3 per
small-
bay. It
if-
is
yeah,
3 per
plus
bay,
one.
excuse me, which will bring you up to 12, and you
Yes.
need to designate a space for each employee. So I'm assuming that's what's in the code.
Is it designate or +1?
That you have, excuse me, you're right, you have to have +1 for
Yeah, the
each
+1 is
employee.
what I missed.
Right, you have to have +1 for each employee. So that brings us up to 15 spaces. So I'm assuming there are 3 employees currently there?
Max, 2 to
Okay.
3. I mean, maybe on weekends they'll have 3, but typically during the week it's 2 employees, 6 spaces is plenty. And would there be any way to consider the bays as an actual parking space? Since
No,
that's
we
where the
cannot.
customers stay?
No, we cannot. That was discussed actually at our work session
Yes.
on Monday, and we cannot
Well,
include that
and
as
I
a.
understand your concern with the future use being, what if a retail business comes in there, but at less than 2,000 square feet, we're over what's required for commercial retail. So it's really, the hardship is requiring more spaces than what we need or require.
But that's what the code calls for. I mean, you're
Right.
fully aware of
Yeah,
what the
that's what
code
I'm
calls
asking for a
for.
variance.
So,
That's
Right.
kind of what my variance, that's what my variance request is for, so.
The hardship, to Skip's point, is the code. Unfortunately, there is no hardship there, and the application is denied.
Nothing,
Again, with the recommendation to follow Cobb County ordinance.
all right, I've got a motion for denial, follow Cobb County ordinance. Do I have a second to that? Second. Any other discussion? Not hearing any. Call for the vote. All signify by voting yes or no. All right, we're going to deny case B53 based on all comments from staff and recommendations. Thank you, sir. John, where am I? 54 is our last one, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Variance case V54, Pradera Group, request a variance to waive the minimum lot size, required 20,000 square feet to 18,527 square feet for proposed lots number 1 and 2, in land lot 768 of the 17th District. Property is located on the eastern side of West Lane Drive and on the western side of Pine View Drive, north of Valley View Drive. Is the applicant present? Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to variance case V54? Let the record show there's one person opposed. All those wishing to address the board, please come forward and be sworn in.
All right, sir, if you would, please give us your name.
My name is Mike Wadsworth. I'm one of the owners of Pradera Group.
Okay, tell us what you want.
So we're a small to medium-sized general contractor. We do custom home building as well as some light commercial work. And what we're proposing to do here is to take a property that has been a long-term rental house. It's currently vacant, overgrown, and a bit of an eyesore for the neighborhood. Subdivide it and build 2 houses there. We are not a land flipper or investor. We are a home builder, so we would be the ones that would actually be pulling the building permits to build the houses. We just finished 2 houses right on the other side of Paces Ferry. They sold for $750,000. We're building 2 more houses about 4 houses down from this lot, further down Pineview. Those are on the market right now for $850,000. So, for most intents and purposes, these are luxury homes. They're going to be about 3,500 square feet over a full garage, over a full basement, 2-car garage. None of the garage doors will face the street.
I missed, what's the square footage of each house
3,500 square feet.
per house?
Per house over a
Okay.
basement. So
Okay.
a lot of our home buyers asked us to finish the basements, and they end up 4,500 square feet or so. The hardship for us and on this lot in particular is that it's essentially a peninsula-shaped lot with a lot of right-of-way frontage. So even though the building area or the lot area outside of the right-of-way is 0.9 acres, it has a feel and a look of a bigger property than that because of the peninsula shape and the amount of square footage that's in the right-of-way. I guess that's really it. We're working with a agent at Berkshire Hathaway. She's already got 2 buyers that are interested in purchasing the finished homes, so most likely they would not be speculative and would be a pre-sale situation.
Do you have an estimated value, what you think they may go for
So the 2 houses that we're building,
per house?
yeah, just south of there, we're going to replicate the exact same house, and they're on the market today for $850,000, and they're similar lot size.
Okay, anything else you want to tell us?
No, other than I live in Vinings, I wouldn't do anything here that I wouldn't want in my own backyard. We know this area and this neighborhood very well, and even at just under half an acre, it's commensurate with the lot sizes around it and the look and feel of the neighborhood. And we've also been supported by all the neighbors up until this point. I mean, it looks like a wooded jungle and no one's living there. So every neighbor we've spoken to is very excited about having some new houses being built.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, sir, if you just have a seat at this time, we'll hear from the opposition. Start with your name.
Hi, I'm Amy Hunt,
Ms. Hunt, okay?
and I am the homeowner at 3909 West Lane, which is adjacent to the property in question.
Are you behind it, next to it?
Um,
See that little arrow there, that little guy with the arrow running around?
Yep, north.
North.
Yep, that's me.
There you go. Nice house.
Yes.
All right, tell us what you're thinking.
My concerns are the proximity. He talked about a 3,500 square foot house. I know the variances and the setbacks that are required. I'm just concerned a house of that size and how close it is to the property line. We actually purchased this home about 2 weeks ago, so I'm a little new to getting up to speed on all of what's going on here. So my concern is the lot size being less than 20,000 square feet, which is the designation for R20. And I'm also concerned with the location of the proposed 2 new buildings in relationship to 3909 West Lane.
Next door to you.
Correct.
How big is your house?
About 1,700 square feet finished on the main floor. And there's an unfinished garage and a partially finished basement as well.
Okay, and you bought it 2 weeks ago?
2.5, yeah.
Welcome to the,
Congratulations.
welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks.
Anything else you want to tell us, Ms. Hunt?
No.
Any other concerns you have?
Uh,
Have you had an opportunity to talk to the builders the first time you
no,
met them?
this is the first time I saw it was when I was walking my dog yesterday and saw the sign up in the driveway.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say my concern would also be the topography. And again, because I feel like that's going to drive a lot of the location of the new homes. I'm not opposed to well-constructed quality product. I'm not opposed to property values going up. I'm just concerned about, the lot sizes being smaller and the proximity of the homes to the property that we just purchased.
Just out of curiosity, am I looking at this right, John? Is that a PRD across the street? Yes. When was that built?
That was probably built back in the 80s.
And that's probably 2.5, 3 per acre? Around 3 per acre. So we already have mass housing in that area already, is that correct?
We did check that first house, which
We did check the lot size of the first house where the arrow is. Now it's about 10,000 square feet. The one right to the left of it is about 7,000 or about 7,500 square feet.
Okay. How do those houses look, the ones we're looking at across the street? How do they look to you as a new neighbor?
There's fencing and a lot of landscaping along that road,
Right.
so I don't know that,
You don't get to see it.
yeah, I don't really see
And
it.
if you know he's the builder next door, and if he gets it, would you talk to him about doing landscaping and fencing along your side?
Sure,
Okay. Miss Hunt, anything else?
that's it.
Honey, you're a great American. You just moved into the neighborhood.
I jumped right in.
You just jumped right in, and we're delighted to have you.
Great, thanks.
Thank you. For the purpose of the record, is there anybody else here in opposition to case V54? Hearing and not seeing anybody, it is back to this board for discussion. Mr. Bryant McDaniel is the district commissioner. So Bryant, lead us in the discussion.
Well, first, I want to thank Mike and Amy both for coming today. I wish that you guys had had more of a chance, obviously, to talk. I think you both probably wish that at this point as well. But given where we are, I think, to Amy, I would say Mike has, I think, gone out of his way to reach out to a lot of the existing neighbors up to this point and make sure that everybody was supportive of what their plans were. Mike, I might ask you if you wouldn't mind coming back up to the podium just to try and address some of the concerns that Amy raised. I mean, in terms of maybe potential natural buffers, the things like that you might want to consider.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The first thing I think I'd like to address is the topography there,
Yeah.
which isn't going to require us to move the house to one side of the new lots or the other. They're basically going to be built in the center of these areas. The topography there is actually really good from our standpoint. The highest elevations that are towards her house will be cut down some so that we don't have to move that house to either side of the lot. But certainly would love to work with you and come to an agreement on landscaping buffers or any sort of privacy screening. But I'm sure she's probably seen our site a couple of lots over from this and can see what we're selling houses for there. We're residents of this community and we're custom home builders, so we don't just slap up stuff and move on to the next project. We put our blood, sweat, and tears in the house, doesn't really care about the product that we deliver.
Just out of curiosity, do you have elevation plans that you could share or show?
Sure.
Do you have them now?
Don't have anything.
Okay, it wasn't critical to
Actually,
this
I
discussion,
probably
but
do.
I'm thinking you may want to
If you
share
let
that
me
with
go to
Amy.
my briefcase, I think I do have some elevations.
Okay, I'm just thinking it would be something that Amy might want to look at and make her feel more comfortable with what your plans are.
I do have some elevations now I think about it.
You do?
Mhm.
Would you mind grabbing them then real quickly? Maybe we can show those. And then when you come back up, as I'm looking at the plans, as you've proposed them, it looks like what you're wanting to do by subdividing still leaves you in compliance with code as far as the setbacks of the properties. Is that correct? So there would not be any need for any other variances. You'd be within code at that point. I guess I'll save your response for when you come back up.
When we're on TV, we don't like dead.
Yeah, I agree.
dead space.
Mike, if you can't find it, I'd say save it for after. If
It just-
All sense of the building materials that are going to be used and the quality of the house and kind of the look that we go to. We're more of a kind of traditional contemporary builder.
Okay,
If
but
you
so
would
back to, go ahead, I'm
give-
sorry.
If you would give that to Cornelius, he'll put it up on the screen for us.
So now I'll go back to my question, just because it seemed to be a concern of Amy's, and that was regarding the setbacks. Again, based on your proposal, there should be no other variances required with,
Right, we have plenty of room to
Either-
build the house and still have a good yard.
still within the,
Every
okay.
pool, every house will be able to have a pool there if a homeowner desired, so we don't, we don't have any issues with the building setbacks.
Okay,
Really just showing the elevation. This one's a little marked up. That's the house that we're building at 4003 Pineview Drive. So it's got a side-facing garage that kind of snorkels off the front of the house and will be on a full basement.
okay.
Is that a hard surface front?
It's going to be brick up to the first floor, and then you'll have the cedar shake and the board and batten mixed in,
Okay.
but painted brick on this particular house.
And my last question, I got notification as we were coming in about some concerns the DOT has with driveway access and egress. And I guess, are you aware of some of those concerns?
I saw that yesterday, I believe, when the consent agenda was uploaded. It said that they didn't want a driveway within 50 feet of Pineview and within 50 feet of West Lane.
Yeah.
I think that we can work within those
Okay.
parameters.
All right. All right.
All right, any other, any fellow board members have any questions for this Michael up here? Any questions? Okay, Brian, I think we're ready for a motion then.
Okay, well, as John alluded to earlier, not knowing what the vote will be here today, I want to remind Mike that if your application is approved today, it's still going to need final approval by the Board of Commissioners. So, Mr. Chairman, given the issue with the right-of-way frontage on 3 sides of the property and that they can meet all the setback requirements for the 2 structures after the proposed subdivision, I make a motion to recommend approval of the case V54 to the Board of Commissioners, subject to staff comments. And the following, I need to read these into the record, I guess. Recommend applicant verify that minimum intersection site distance of 280 feet is available for West Lane Drive access. If site distance cannot be met, recommend the applicant follow all guidelines and requirements during plan review. And recommend driveway entrances be paved with a treated hardened surface for a minimum of 25 feet from the edge of pavement or to the county right-of-way, whichever is greater in length.
Very good.
I know it was a mouthful, sorry.
Good. All right, I've got a motion. Do I have a second? Second. For discussion. Skip?
I guess I'm still having a hard time trying to understand what the hardship is. I understand that Michael has said that the road frontage is on 3 sides, and as far as I can tell, that creates an opportunity to subdivide this so that you have road frontage that's sufficient for 2 lots. But I don't see that as a hardship.
I share that because in this location, if you look at the aerial that we're looking at now, the other lots are big lots. They haven't taken and subdivided up. And you said you're not a flipper, but in a sense, you really are. You go in, you find a house or a lot, and then you build, and then you flip it to somebody. So it's not like you're doing a whole subdivision. And you do a nice house. It's not about what kind of product you put out. It's more of there is no hardship. Because I see this selling, if you built one house, like you showed us, it would sell. It would have a little extra property, but you still could probably make money off of the one house.
Unfortunately, if we don't do this development, it's going to stay as a vacant rental property for the foreseeable future.
And that sometimes is a chance we take, but I don't see subdividing it because there really is no hardship. Because you could build a house. You could build a house and it probably would sell. Now, could you make the kind of profit that you want to make? Probably not, but that's not our position up here is, do you make money off of it? I hope you do, but not to the expense of where you subdivide when no one else has subdivided in this particular area.
I just subdivided 4003 and 4007 Pine View.
Okay, let me jump in here. I do see a hardship. I do see a situation here that I think this is a desirable situation. I think Ms. Hunt should be very, very lucky to have somebody like you coming in and building something like that. I admire her spunk for coming, but I don't think she's done enough homework to really understand that it's really going to increase the value of her house. Now, there's certain places in Cobb County that you simply can't do this. But what we're talking about here is 1,400 square foot difference between that and 20,000 square feet. The other hardship I see is you're sitting right next to a PRD that regardless of when it was put in, it's still a PRD. What you're going to add to that neighborhood is, I think, a lot of value. And traditionally, I've seen this board grant variances when it's less than 15,000 square feet, and a 1,400 square foot difference doesn't bother me at all. So I'm totally in favor of it. Any other comments? Monique, you have a comment? All right. No other comments? Call for the vote. Yes or no?
We need a second, I think, don't we?
Oh,
We did.
You got a second?
We
Okay,
have a
sorry about
second.
that. Okay.
Have a second. And I've got Bill rolling over there watching everything I do to make sure
Okay,
I don't
sorry.
make any mistakes. All in favor signify or vote otherwise. Okay, we've got a 3-2 vote. Sir, you're welcome. You're the new guy in the neighborhood. Miss Hunt, you've got a new neighbor. I would suggest you two walk out in the hallway and get to know each other. I think you're both very lucky. So with that, it's a 3-2 vote. Before I call the meeting to adjournment, I have a couple of announcements to make. You're free, sir. For those of you at home, you look at the 4 or 5 of us sitting up here and think that we're the smartest people in the world. We are not. We are very fortunate in the fact that we've got a complete staff of people that work behind the scenes to make us look good. And at this time, Cornelius, can we get that camera to pan around? I want Tim Pierce to stand up. Tim, stand up for a minute. Nobody knows this fella, but he's the one that works the magic behind the scenes that pulls up all the stormwater lakes, the streams. He pulls up the house. He's the little mouse guy that does all that. And you've been doing that for years, and nobody says thank you. Well, this board together thanks you very much, Tim. And you're the guy that Rush Limbaugh talks about. You are the great American. So I'm delighted you're here. Okay, folks, with that said, I just got a couple of other little quick things to say. I need a motion on our May 8th meeting and also our April the 24th meeting for.
I'll make a motion on May 8th.
And the 24th, April the 24th.
I can't do that one.
Oh, that's right. Okay, Judy,
I'll make a motion, let me
Okay.
do both of them, Judy.
I'll make a motion that we approve the April 24th and the May 8th.
Okay, all in favor signify by voting and saying, thank you.
I can only vote
Ladies
on
and
one.
gentlemen, that is another, no, Mr.
There's one more thing on the agenda we need to cover.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yes, we do have to get that out of the way. All right, John, you want to read that into the record?
Yes, sir. This next item is to amend something that was previously adopted by the Board of Zoning Appeals. This particular item would be to amend an action taken on November 9th, 2016 for variance case V164 Todd McGill, to amend the motion deleting the bullet number 1, which referenced a specific site plan. Section 26 of the Board of Zoning Appeals hearing procedures adopted July 10th, 1996, and last revised April 11, 2001, allows any board member to amend an action taken at a previous hearing. A second shall be required and full discussion shall be allowed. A majority vote shall be required to adopt this amendment. And just by way of background, Mr. Chairman, Board, this was approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals in November. It was reviewed by the staff and the county attorney, and it found out that the bullet number 1 was never part of the motion. So we would ask the board to delete that from the motion.
So could we just say approval of the motion that you just read? Could we do it that way? Would that be acceptable?
She loves it.
Oh, she loves it. Make that motion, please. He makes that motion. And Monique is going to second that motion. All in favor, hit the buttons. Yes or no, or go home. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our business for today. Mother's Day is coming up, so y'all be nice to your mommies. Thank you. Bye.